Good morning, guys. John Craft Hobbies here. How you doing? Hope you're having a great day. So today we are doing part one of a two-part custom Transformers ranking. Now I'm only ranking mine, so you can't argue with any rankings I give. I'm going to be ranking based on how much fun I have had customizing these, how much I like the figure itself, how much it looks like what I'm trying to represent, you know, stuff like that. Just a variety of things. I'm not going to show the transformation of all of them, just literally. Well, shoot, there are only 5. I was going to say 3. That's most of them. I'll show the transformation for most of them, but only because there are details in the transformations that matter. One is literally the only reason it's custom is its transformation. That'll make sense in a little bit. So we're going to start with this guy here. This is Liege Maximo. I made him with Titans Return Megatron as the base. And he's had a few different alt modes during the time I've worked on him, but I've finally settled on this. I gave him parts from a Construct Bot as like detailing and weapons. To make him sit flat in vehicle mode, I popped his tank cannon off and put his headmaster in it. So we're going to transform him just so you can see where the detailing bits go in robot mode. So first we just take them all off. We'll set them in a little pile for now. Now his transformation isn't that complicated. It's literally just the Titans Return Megatron transformation. I think it's going to be easier if I do this off screen, so I will be back momentarily. And I'm back just in time to put the head on. Just, you know, you fold up the headmaster like, you know, a headmaster, obviously. They don't have it so many different ways to do things. Plug it in. I have a little bit of trouble with this guy plugging his head in, so, and then it goes in on the second try. Alright, so here we've got his basic robot mode. The headmasters definitely look a little bit small on Voyager, but I don't know, they look good enough in general. I do intend to see if there's like, I know there's a Galvatron helmet 3D print for the Titans Return Galvatron figure, but I'm thinking honestly I might get it for this guy and give him a little more bulk to his head. No, that's not a bulkhead reference. I take the cannon that I popped off and pop it back on, I think. Yeah. We'll pop it off again for vehicle mode, which no, I'm not transforming him back right now. Then I did this wrong. And technically he could hold his cannon as a blaster because I did put a 5mm peg on it after I took it off. But right now, just making this as simple as possible. I just realized this is the first time I have transformed him since giving him all these extra bits. I don't know what to do with these. So, honestly, these will probably go on a different transformer. So we'll just throw those aside. And here is Liege Maximo of the 13 Primes. I like the figure. I did not enjoy the customization process like I thought I would, because it was hard to get him done with the materials I was using. I was using... Oh, what did I use for the gold? I think I used paint pen for the gold. And if you know paint pens and tight spaces, you know that's not a good combination. But at the time, the only gold actual paint I had was awful. You'd put it on and it would streak. And I've got one transformer coming up in this video that has streaky paint. I mean, it is disgustingly streaky. But that one is intentionally streaky. This one would have been unintentionally streaky if I hadn't used paint pen. So for the customization process, this is one of my least favorites. Considering it's really good looking, because the Titans Return Megatron is just a good mold. It's got a lot of articulation. It's got a lot of really nice looking detailing on it. Mine is, you'll notice with a lot of these, they're second hand. I usually don't buy a brand new Transformer and be like, I'm going to customize this. So, you know, second hand, I do that because it's cheaper and customized. So, you know, this one's obviously missing some parts, which is part of why he's got a different alt mode, but I think it looks like a good enough cross between Cybertronian and Earth, so it makes enough sense. And he's just a good figure. So this one I will give... How will I remember all these rankings by the end of the video so I can edit them in? Let me write them down on something as I go. Let me find a paper. Alright, this is good. Don't use the Sharpie, y'all run out of room. I'll give Liege Maximo 8 out of 10. I can't rank him higher, even though I do think he's great, because the customization process really was a headache. It was terrible. I did not enjoy that. Everything else about him, I have enjoyed. So yeah, 8 out of 10 is as fair as he can get. The next one coming up is a very strange story. So, a few years ago, I saw someone in a Facebook group making a custom 3D printed Moonracer head. And I was like, you know, that's kind of cool looking. So I got a Cyberverse Deluxe RC, and I got the 3D file for the Moonracer head, and I hired a printing service to print it. They sent me two. I love when people do that. I love paying for one thing and they're like, you know what, take two. I very much like that. But I used the one for the RC, and you'll see that custom in part 2. But the other one is just sitting here. And honestly, for a while, I lost it. And I found it one day, and I'm like, oh, I want to make something with this. But I couldn't find a bot that was good enough. Right shape and size. Just because the head is a feminine face doesn't mean the bot had to be feminine, but like, I didn't want to get something bulky like, I don't know, Ironhide or I don't know. When I try to think of a Transformers name, I can't come up with anyone. I know so many, and then I try to say one, I'm like, the yellow one. So, anyway, the point is, it didn't have to be feminine, but I didn't want it to be overly bulky either. Then I remembered RID 15. Oh, did I remember RID 15? But the thing about that is it had some good toy designs. Not saying they were great in the show, but the toys were alright. And I saw the Warrior class Strong Arm. Perfect. Well, the one I was going to get on eBay sold. And the next cheapest was about $5 to $10 out of my current budget at the time. I went to Goodwill the next day, found a bag of Transformers, and who was in it? Warrior class Strong Arm. So, I buy it, bring it home, pop her old head off, attach the new one, paint it up, and one of my original characters, Pax Iaconus. Basically, I was trying to write all this down as like one long story, but I gave up, but it's still going in my head. She is basically the equivalent of Optimus Prime in her universe. So she's got the Matrix sword, and a shield, who is just, this is a 2-in-1 right here. You get 2 customs. It's just War for Cybertron Slitherfang painted blue. So let's turn him back into a shield. If I can, hold on. I shouldn't have tabbed him in so tight. There we go. Turn him back into a shield. Give him to Pax. Now let's take the sword and the shield back off so I can show you transformation. Because, you know, when you've got like a custom head or something, you don't know how good everything's going to fit. So we're just going to transform her so you can see that the head does not get in the way, even though it's not for this body. Oh, she was missing her back wheels, so I just put some lids, some bottle lids in place. Painted them black, good to go. How do I do this? I don't mess with this one much, so I don't remember transformation half the time. Okay. I will try not to go on another long story rant like I just did without showing anything on screen. I would like to apologize for that. I had it all planned out to talk about it, but I never considered how much emptiness on the screen there would be. Am I supposed to... How do I transform you? I swear I know what I'm doing. I am a professional. I am not a professional. Do not take that out of context. How do I do this? Hold on, I'll be back. Okay, we're back, and some stuff has popped apart, so let's reattach. I forgot you're supposed to flip down the chest plate on the underside. So let's get everything lined back up. Pop everything back into its proper place. You can either put the sword on top in the 5mm hole, or the shield, which has the handle is gone, or the shield. It goes in. I'm just not fighting it. I'm not fighting it right now. The sword will go in. But as you can see, yeah, it's a snug-ish fit, but the 3D printed head definitely doesn't hinder transformation. I'm not going to deduct points for the transformation because that was completely my fault. I forgot. And there wasn't a whole lot to the customization process, so I can't rank that too high. But just for the story alone, about how I ended up with this, I think I'll give this one a 6.5 out of 10. Not impressive, but not unimpressive. It only scores that high because, like I said, the story of how I ended up with it. You can't beat accidentally finding the thing you had just been looking at to buy. Can't beat that. Alright, who is next? I just dropped the shield on the other side of the couch. That's fun. Alright, I was talking about this one earlier. About how it's streaky on purpose. This is a transformer I got from a friend, and the Headmaster too. This is not the Headmaster that originally came with this figure, and is part of why this is a custom. It's Titans Return. I just saw a video about this guy the other day. What is his name? Twin Shot? No. I swear I just saw a video about him. I know his name. I don't remember his name. I am so sorry. But he's the jet that has these on the side. But anyway, I wanted his robot body to match his Headmaster, the orange, gray, and red. So I painted him up to be Hornet. And his Headmaster is Buzzworthy. It's gotta be. I would like to maybe clean that up a little bit, make it not have the white outline. But yeah, this is not a figure I intentionally got, but when I got it, I was like, yeah, let's do a custom. He's streaky because I do want him to have kind of like a B look about him. And, you know, just like with his unpainted version, well, not unpainted, but like the non-custom painted version, you can pop out his weapons to be his hands. In fact, I like to fold in his feet like this, and I usually have him on like a flight stand, so he's always in flight, even in robot mode. And I just think he's a good figure, regardless of what you do as far as like painting or how you have him displayed. There's not a lot to say about him. He's just really good. I hate that he is now super expensive on the aftermarket, because I would really like to have one not custom painted. So let's just go to ranking this one. This one is pretty much getting all the points in how good the figure is, more so than how good the customization was, how good it looks. This is literally, to me, an 8.5 out of 10. I could give it a 9, but there are some parts of it that I need to touch up that are really bothering me. So I can't give him that extra bit, just because there's all the red is kind of not doing great. I need to repaint all the red, and that lost him half a point. I know that's kind of harsh, but I don't know. I feel like I've either been too lenient or too harsh, and this one just feels like a nice in between. Now, we've got one more before we talk about the big boy. This is a figure that I traded some parts for several years ago, and didn't realize that he needed his weapon to transform. This is the original War for Cybertron, the game, not the trilogy, Shockwave. He needs his gun to transform. That's heinous. So, I've been fiddling with him for, years, trying to figure out good alt mode. Figured use the spaceship thrusters as like a little gun, turn him into a cannon in a tank mode. And then the gun that came with the Titans Return Megatron. It was broken, and I didn't need it for Megatron. So I figured, who can I give this to? Shockwave. Put some extra ports on it. Plug it into that hole. Tank. And I'm not going to do the whole transformation, because if you know this figure, you know how it transforms. I'm just going to show you the only thing that makes it custom. Just fold down a leg, fold down a leg. He also doesn't have his feet, so I have to put him on a display base, which is why I added this doohickey with a 3mm hole off of a Gundam. But yeah, you just transform him normal for the most part, and then just fold his legs funny. That's the whole transformation, really. That's all that makes him custom. No special paint job. No new part exactly. Just fold him up different. Give him a different gun. I love this figure, and the customization process was, I don't want to say fun, but I don't want to not say fun. It was fun enough, but it's just a good little figure. So we're going to give Shockwave Yeah, I'm going to give him a 9. Just because he's a good little figure. I wish the Studio Series Gamer Edition War for Cybertron figures were still being made, because I would love to see an updated version of this guy. He's great. He really is great. Alright, now the big boy. We are not going to transform him because I hate his transformation process. There are some parts on him that I will take off because discussion. But this is RID 2001 Optimus Prime. He's missing his super mode shoulders. Fun fact, and for the one person that knows what I'm talking about, I finally got to get one of his shoulders. I found it on eBay last night for like $6, and I had to get it. I already missed out on one cheap one. I was not missing out on this one. So now all I have to do is not only wait for that to get here, but also find the other shoulder. Anyway, all that makes this one custom is I'm trying to turn him into Leo Prime, Lio Prime, however you want to pronounce it. I hate that it's spelled Lio because I want to call it Leo. And I know it's not what I want, but this one's mine, so I'm going to call it Leo Prime. I know that's not the official name, but I'm not Hasbro. And if Joe Hasbro wants to come fight me about the name, he can. I can guarantee I'll win that fight. So, yeah, it's just his colors are very Leo Prime. He's got the, standard Optimus red. But he's also going to have the white and the gold. Now, let me... Oh, and I put straws in his hands. Focus. Camera. Focus. Focus. It's not going to focus any better. Straws in his hand so he can hold his weapon, which, as you can see, I took his entire ladder section off. He can still transform, just he doesn't have his ladder on him in robot mode, but that's why I added a handle and the port in his hand. Just attach it, and he is holding his weapon. Now I'm going to take the super mode armor off and talk about some things. I will be right back. Alright, I have taken off enough to talk about the problem. So, I've been talking to fellow Transformers YouTuber Bob's Your Uncle, and he knows the struggle I went through yesterday with this guy. Struggle I've technically been going through, but I didn't really actively try to fix until yesterday because I knew I was going to be recording today. Because his waist is on a they look like ratchets, they really do, but they're not ratchets. But he has got the loosest, the most loose. I don't know the grammar on that one. Don't come at me in the comments for my grammar. He's got the loosest waist. It's still not great. This is better than it was. He was leaning so bad before this. But I found a couple of longer screws and I put them in so that it's a little bit tighter without messing with anything. So now when you want to do super mode, he's not leaning as bad. I'll pop this part back on and show you. Because, like, this kind of holds him in place enough. Now take it back off. And you know, when he's in regular mode, that joint is mostly covered anyway. So, yeah, he's over 20 years old, so the fact that he's working this good... In fact, the sounds don't work, which I don't care because I don't like when toys make sound at me. But his lights still work. This is from 2001. The batteries, I didn't put those in. And the lights still work. He's got the batteries he came with when I bought him. Who knows the last time they were replaced, but they still work. I don't care if the sound doesn't work. I'm just impressed that the lights work. This is literally just a really good figure. I remember when I was little and saw this in the store. It was massive. I'm surprised how small it is in reality as compared to what I remember. But that's the thing about when you're little. Everything is huge. So it's not the fact that he's little, because this is beefy. This would be sold today as a commander class. In fact, it was sold, I think, as a commander class. The reissue, the HasLab. I think that was commander class. They wouldn't call that a Titan class, would they? No, it's got to have been commander class. But anyway, yeah, he's just a really good figure. I'm excited to get the shoulder so that I'll be literally one step away from finishing it. When I do get that far, I'm going to touch up some of the paint. Obviously, the shoulders will need a little bit of paint to match the rest of this. But once all of that is here, he will be done. He will be perfect. And I am not that Transformers fan that says, oh, Optimus Prime is the best just because he's Optimus Prime. No, this figure is the best because this figure is the best. Not the best figure ever, but like just the best in general. There are definitely Transformers figures better than him. There are certainly Transformers figures worse than him. But this is genuinely one of my favorite purchases. And it's just a simple paint job to turn him into Leo Prime. It's just, a simple custom. Taking his fire hose off, his ladder off, so I can, store that different in robot modes. But we're gonna give Leo Prime because he's not finished yet. I can't give him the perfect 10, but we'll give him a 9.5 because he just deserves it. So here is the ranking for part 1. Liege Maximo, 8 out of 10. Pax Iacona, 6.5 out of 10. Hornet, 8.5 out of 10. Shockwave, 9 out of 10. And Leo Prime, 9.5 out of 10. Alright, I hope you've had as much fun as I have. Hope you're looking forward to part 2. I don't know when that'll be up. So, keep an eye out. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next time. Have a great day.